Hey everybody, how's it going? Let me know your thoughts on this, right? So I think one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves is, God, what do you see when you look at me? Why is that important? Well, I think it's because oftentimes we don't really understand or know who we really are. If we don't have God's opinion of us, we just have the opinions and the imprints that other people or culture have put on us since we've been growing up, right? And when you really think about it, some of those things are negative and pretty far from the truth, but we start to believe them because they're reinforced all the time by people, by ourselves, and by all the things around us, right? And God's opinion of us is the one that really matters. Why? Because he's our maker, right? Because he knows us better than we know ourselves, because he has a plan and a purpose for us, right? So isn't it important that we know that and we step into who we truly are, right? So it's kind of like in the Bible when in John chapter 9, the disciples and Jesus meet up with this blind man who's been blind since birth, right? And everyone in that culture thinks that it's the blind man's fault or someone's fault, his parents or someone who'd sinned, right? And it's the right judgment of God that that man was born blind. And so the disciples asked Jesus, hey Jesus, whose fault was it that this man's born blind? And God says, no, you've got it twisted. Jesus says, no, you've got it twisted. It's not because someone sinned, but it's so the glory of God can be revealed in him, right? And so here's Jesus with a different opinion to absolutely everybody else in that picture, right? Even the blind man thought it was his fault, right? Thought the right judgment of God was to make him blind since he was born. And if you're thinking that, maybe you're thinking, man, God hates me, right? Because I'm like this. But here's Jesus saying something different. Spits on the ground, puts mud on the man's eyes and says, go and wash it off in the pool. Now put yourselves in this man's shoes. Never seen colour, never seen anything. Maybe he's heard lots of things, right? Maybe he's heard a bird fly across the sky and he's asked his friends, right? What the heck is that flying over there singing? And his friends might have said, well, it's a bird, you know, and they've done their best to explain what it is. But he just can't make the connection between what's there and what he understands of that thing, right? Because the breakdown, he can't see his understanding, there's a breakdown there. So he gets to the pool with his full understanding of everything and he washes his eyes. And the first thing he sees as his eyesight comes back is himself. And he finally makes the connection between what was always there, but that he had never understood, his own face. That's who I am. Wow. Instant connection. And then a bird flies over. Maybe he looks up and sees it. And instant connection again between what was always there that he had never understood like that. Maybe he hears a voice saying, son, can you see? And he turns and sees his mum, right? The woman that had been in his life, his whole life, that he's never seen like that. An instant connection. And this is what Jesus comes to do. This is what God comes to do. To dismantle the fake things we believe about ourselves and to reveal the truth about what he sees when he looks at us, that he loves us, right? Later on, Jesus catches up with that blind man and he asks him a question and says, do you believe in the Son of Man? And the blind man says, where is he so I can believe in him? And Jesus says, I'm him. And the blind man gets down and worships him. The biggest revelation drops into his heart that God doesn't hate him, that he is face to face with the Son of God, with God made flesh, Jesus. And Jesus has set him free, all right? His physical body free, but more than that, his inner man in his spirit, the one who thought God hated him, was now face to face with God, and God loves him. Imagine the difference he felt as that fake identity fell off him, right? And this is why that question is so important, in my opinion, right? It's because we rarely rise above the opinion that we have of ourselves or other people have of us, right? So when we get God's opinion of us, it smashes through our ceilings of what's possible, right? So this question, God, what do you see when you look at me, is so important to ask God and keep asking God and keep hearing from him and keep writing it down. And at some point, it jumps from the page into our heart as what God says is our identity, right? So let me know what you think about this. I think this is great news that we can understand and know who we really are when we agree with God. All right, God bless.